Hello, my little juicy juice boxes. I've decided that I want to start calling you guys just something that makes me really happy, like things that I genuinely love and hold at a very high value in my life. I'm being a grown-up tonight and drinking sparkling water, but who doesn't love juicy juice? It's 100% juice for 100% kids. Actually, do you guys remember that lawsuit back in maybe it was the early 2000s or maybe the late 90s where somebody sued Juicy Juice because they lied and it was not 100% juice? I feel like the majority of my trust issues as an adult probably come from that. So, hi, today I'm going to be doing a story time video. You're gonna hear me say this a few more times in upcoming uploads, but I'm really sick at the moment and I'm pre-filming because I feel like it's probably going to get worse and I'm going to be out of commission for a while. Plus, I am doing a lot of traveling this month, so just want to make sure I have videos for you guys coming up. I really needed to edit a makeup tutorial for tomorrow and I'm so lazy. Like, I'm such a shithead that I cannot make myself do it. So I thought instead I would do something like a story time video, which are way easier to edit because lazy YouTuber props, but at least I'm honest. Do I get like brownie points for that? Probably not. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about like probably the worst relationship I've ever been in. The guy was really emotionally abusive towards me, very manipulative. I did things in that relationship I would never do now. And I just he did so many things that I could make so many videos on. He was just not a good boyfriend and it was not a good relationship, but one of the worst things he ever did, and one of the things he did continually, was body shame me and make me feel like crap for my size. So with Valentine's Day around the corner, I just thought I would bring you this really happy relationship story. A lot of you know, if you're a familiar watcher on my channel, you know I got married really young. I got married when I was like 19, so I don't exactly have Tinder stories to tell you guys. I don't have any current dating stories or anything like that that's super interesting, clearly, because I'm married. But I just think that this is one of those things where yes, it's an interesting story and it's really sad, but I also feel like maybe I could help people in similar relationships recognize things, because I did not recognize some of the actions or some of the things that this guy was saying at the time of dating him. All right, so let's rewind a little bit. I had gotten out of a really bad relationship when I actually met this person, and it was one of those things where he was really interested in me from the word go. I was, I think, 16, maybe 15 when we met, and he really liked me a lot, and the feeling was definitely mutual, but at the same time, I feel maybe I was a little bit more mature as a younger person, and I was able to recognize that I had just gotten out of a relationship that had lasted for over a year and a half, and I was not in a place where I could date someone else right then. I was also in a really bad relationship with myself, my body, I was starving myself, I was binging and purging, it was not a good situation, and I felt really ugly, I felt really gross all of the time, and I didn't feel like I could spread that onto another person. So we were just really good friends for a long time. I wound up dating one of his best friends. The feelings were definitely there, but they sort of dissipated. We liked each other, but we weren't gonna date each other because we actually became best friends, best friends for a really long time. This dude made a way better friend than he did a boyfriend, which doesn't excuse any of the things that he did to me, but at the same time, we were really close for a long time. Whatever, he was my first relationship out of high school, and again, we'd always been really good friends, and it happened really fast. I'm not really the kind of person who likes to put my crap on blast, and I honestly can't remember the time that I was genuinely dating someone and changed my Facebook status or something like that. Not my Facebook status, it's not oh, I'm dating someone, but I didn't change my relationship status or anything. I mean, obviously I am on Facebook now, but even when Tyler and I started dating again, I didn't even post anything of the two of us on social media for several months. So this guy was pretty cool because he really respected that. He was really aware of, I don't like my crap on blast. I obviously am not gonna run off and cheat on you, but at the same time, I'm not gonna broadcast that we're dating, you know what I'm saying? I don't want other people in my stuff. And he was really similar, so that was kind of cool. And we went into the relationship, and there wasn't a lot of pressure because there were no mutual friends. Yes, you two got together, you know, that sort of thing, because I've dated people where that happened before. It didn't start off really awful. He moved kind of fast and dropped the L-bomb within maybe 2 months into the relationship, and it was just good for you. I didn't even know what to say. That was the first time anyone had ever told me they loved me, and I didn't feel the same way, you know? So there were a lot of things that went into this relationship that kind of put things on a strain. But maybe 3 months into the relationship was the first time he called me fat, and he didn't do it outright, but he definitely did it. So I was showing him this dress I had found on ASOS, actually, and at the time I had gained some weight since high school, and you have to remember right before my senior year was when I had like started recovery from my eating disorder. So basically the entire summer after junior year, I was still a mess. In case you don't know, after your body goes through something like that, like I struggled with food and like not eating properly for well over half a year. And I cannot remember the time frame very clearly. If you ever hear me mess up like time frames or whatever, it's because I literally cannot remember that time in my life. Like I feel like I've actually blocked it out. But anyways, after something like that happens, like your body goes insane, and I gained a lot of weight really fast. And so I wasn't feeling very good in myself anyways, because it was like I had gained some weight since high school after already kind of like blowing up, so to speak, after my eating disorder. But I found this dress and it was so freaking cute, and we were doing like something for New Year's that year. His friend was in the entertainment industry, and so we were going to this party, and I was underage at the time, but he could get us into like bars and clubs and stuff, and I honestly just thought it was so cool. But underage drinking is not cool. I do not condone it. It was honestly, it's not a good thing to do. Like the repercussions for it are so severe, and it's not that fun. It's really not. Like I drink in my adult life now, but even now, like after going through my party phase right after I turned 21, it's just like, I don't, like, what is the point, you know? But I mean, that's just me. So anyways, we were doing something for New Year's, and I showed him this dress, and it was on a straight size model, but I was getting it at like a size maybe 12 or 14. And I was just like, hey, do you like this dress? And he didn't say anything for a minute. He just like stared at the dress, and I thought he was gonna tell me he didn't like it. And he was just like, you know, I don't like that model. And I was like, do you like understand what I just asked you? Like, are we like hearing the same thing? Are we on the same planet? And I was just like, why? Because he'd never done something like that before. Now, let's kind of back this up. He like really did not compliment me very often, which didn't play in very well to like me not thinking I was very pretty at the time. I'm not just saying you have to butter your girl up, or, you know, whoever you're dating at the moment up all the time and like tell them they're so attractive. But at the same time, like I don't even think I'd heard him call me beautiful or pretty or anything like once since we started dating. And this is a few months into the relationship. And so he's looking at this model and he's like, I don't like her. And I'm just like, well, that was my question, but okay, why don't you like her? And he's like, because she makes you feel bad. That really makes no sense. Like I kind of thought he was like on something for a minute, because it was so random for me to be like, do you like this dress? And he's like, that model makes you feel bad about yourself. And like, it was so weird, and it didn't make sense to me. For a few minutes, I just kind of like sat there, and he like went back to what he was doing, and I was just sitting there. And after like a few minutes had passed, I like finally spoke up, and I was like, she doesn't make me feel bad about myself. And he like looked back at me, and he was like, why not? And I remember him saying that so freaking clearly, because it was just like, whoa, like she needs to make me feel bad about myself. Like that's what you're saying. And so like obviously this is a straight size model. I'm like at the time on the verge of plus size, like 12, 14, probably closer to a 12 at this point. It made me feel so freaking bad about myself that like I remember not eating for a week and started distancing myself from him, and like really taking a step back and realizing that like what he said was not okay. Because he wasn't calling me fat, he wasn't calling me ugly, he wasn't saying I needed to feel bad about myself, but that was what he was implying. And looking back on it, I cannot hear anything else out of his mouth. Like that is what I hear, is like, you should feel bad, you know, in comparison to that model. So it was just like, it was so hurtful, it was so mean. But once it started and I didn't blatantly be like, yo, like shut the hell up, it seemed like it happened more and more regularly through like little tiny things. And I can't even tell you half of the things that he said. I just remember feeling so awful about myself every single time that I was around him. I remember for a little while he was working out with his friends or whatever, and he was like telling me that he could totally get me in with them, like to work out and stuff. And at the time I was living at home, and my parents had a lot of workout gear anyways. Like they had a treadmill. Like I was working out at the time, not like religiously or anything like that, but it was like probably 4-ish, 5-ish times a week. And you know, once that comes up, I'm automatically kind of like, you know, and I'm thinking maybe he could have like some good reasoning behind it, whatever. And I remember like him basically offering to work out with me, and I'm like, no, you know, I kind of have it on my own. I don't really want to work out with you. And he was like, well, I can coach you. Like, I feel like I could really help. But I remember he literally like pointed to like my arm area and was like, we can totally work on that, like my underarm area. Cause I was wearing a tank top, I think. And like my stomach just dropped. And I was just like, I looked at him, and at this point, like I'd been so fed up with the relationship that I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like I'm fine, I'm good. You don't need to help me. And he kind of like looked me up and down. Like he literally did like a once over. So like, here's my head and you know, here's my feet. He's just like looking at me with this like shit eating grin on his face. Like yeah, you need to work out. And it literally like was the meanest thing in the entire world. And that was really close to when I ended the relationship because he was so manipulative. He would literally ask me like why I was mad after this sort of stuff. And when I would be like, you are making fun of me, like you don't make me feel good about myself, he would tell me like it was all in my head and it was my own insecurity and like he wasn't making me feel that way, I was making me feel that way. It was all him. It was literally like all him. And he would just like say little things all the time that just made me feel so freaking bad. One of his friends at the time compared me to Adele, and this is when Adele was a little bit like, just a little bit curvier than she is right now, and she's beautiful now. She was beautiful then. I was always such a fan. One of his friends told me I looked like Adele, and I was so flattered because I thought she was so insanely beautiful, and she was one of the few people at the time that I felt like kind of resembled my body, and it made me feel so good about myself. And I remember him like literally kind of like making a noise and like not saying anything back to her when she was like complimenting me and telling him like your girlfriend looks like Adele, like she's so pretty. And I'm like, thank you, and he's just kind of like, huh. And then she walks away and he looks at me and he's like, that's not exactly someone you want to be compared to. Or maybe he said, is that really someone you want to be compared to, or something like that. But like that was the point when I was just like, okay, like this isn't in my head, like this dude is crazy. Honestly, I'm kind of a vengeful bitch, and I like didn't talk to him for 2 weeks while we were still technically dating, just to really get the point across. And then I was like, we should probably break up. But that's kind of the story. And no, he didn't like blatantly call me fat or blatantly be like, yeah, you don't look good. But I really want to help anyone who might be in a similar situation. If you feel like someone doesn't make you feel good about yourself, like if you are in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, anything like that, and someone is like dropping little hints that you shouldn't feel good about yourself, or they're saying little things but not outright calling you ugly, calling you fat, like it's still really manipulative. And this guy manipulated the living hell out of me. And it's like one of the scariest things in the entire world to think that someone else could go through that, because I feel so dumb when I look back at it. And I feel so dumb thinking about the amount of stuff that he did to literally make me feel like I was crazy. Like it was all in my head. It was all my own insecurity. And because of those insecurities, oh my God, did you guys hear that? Sorry. But because of those insecurities, like I was a screwed up one, you know what I'm saying? Like he never looked at his own actions. And if you are in a relationship like this, please, I'm not telling anyone to dump anyone, but I am saying to really analyze it, figure out how you feel about it, and like confront the other person and be like, yo, like you've said this, or you've done this, or you haven't done this, and I want you to know that this makes me feel like blah, blah, blah. And if they're a decent person, they're going to at least be respectful to you, even if it is an insecurity, even if you are imagining or like taking away from something that they're doing that isn't like actually an underlying cause. They're not going to get defensive on you or blame you for their actions or words or whatever. Like they're going to look at what they're doing and be like, yo, like either that isn't what I meant, or maybe it is what they meant, and you can like kick them to the curb. But I just think it's really scary, and I kind of just wanted to make the story time video. I just love you guys so much, and I want to protect you from all the crazies out there. I will be your girlfriend. If you are single this Valentine's Day, I will be your girlfriend. We can eat pizza and cuddle up on the couch and watch like horror movies, because I'm like an anti-rom-com girl, and I think you're freaking beautiful and you don't need to change anything about yourself. So just know that I'm always here for you guys. I love you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.